So, you want to make cinematic lighting in Blender. As you can see on the screen, I've got a bit of a commercial I've made in Blender and edited in DaVinci Resolve. There are many elements in this commercial, such as spotlights, slow reveals, and dark lighting. And today, we're going to be going over all of these. So without further ado, let's hop into Blender. So right here, I've got a McLaren car that I downloaded off of Sketchfab. Link will be in the description so you can download it. So I rigged it using the RBC add-on. So it's got a nice little donut rig. It's doing donuts right now. So like this. And if you want a tutorial on the RBC add-on, leave it in the comments below and I'll try to make one. But here we go. We've got our car. Now, if I were to just delete my point light, and if I were to just add, let's say, a point light right like this, and if I were to set the world to the regular, this is what our render would look like in Eevee. And even if we change this to cycles, sure, it would look slightly better. Of course, cycles is cycles that can make most things look good, but still, it's just not great. Now, this animation right here can change a lot. So what you might be tempted to do would be probably move the light over the car like this, and then take it and then set it to what, maybe 10,000 watt or 1,000 watts. And yeah, while that looks great, it's still not what you would really want for a commercial, because let's add a camera right now. So I'll just add a camera, raise it up, hit N, and go all the way up to the view panel. You can see that I have a ton of add-ons right here. So I'm just going to lock the camera to the view and head into camera mode. So right now I'm controlling the camera so that it's not going to clip right here. And now if I were to just aim the camera over the car like that, you can see that, well, it looks great. Sure, it looks fun. You could pass off with this, but it's just not correct, because the reason why is that our point light doesn't really have any color to it. So what I've noticed right now is if you're using a natural scene, a color like blue, for example, will bring out the elements in it. So if I were to set this color to blue, it works really well for natural scenes. But this looks a little sickly on the car and it makes it look yellow, which is not what we want. So instead of setting it to blue, for cars, just depending on the image, you could set it to a little bit of a reddish hue right here. So this kind of beige color, it brings out the bright colors here, and on the ground, it adds a bit of, it shows that you're using a light. So it adds a spotlight effect on it. Now, while you could change the point light to a spotlight or an area light, which I will mention a little more later, right now we'll just focus on the spotlight. Now, the second element to having cinematic lighting is if you select your base plate, so the plane right down, and then if we're supposed to, so I have got it as the RBC ground, and I just assign a material. Now you might notice that we can see like the light in there, and that is a really good feature because in spotlights you can usually see the reflection of them on the ground. So what I did was I turned up the clear coat. Now if you don't want that, you can turn it down. So like this would also work, something like this. But you can see that it kind of removes the realistic nature of having like a light there, but if you wanted a matte finish on your ground, you could do that. So now if we go in our camera and play our animation, you can see that we've got a much nicer image right now. The whole light bounces are looking great and it's looking much more realistic. And this is all in Eevee, so I'd say it's a big success. But if you want to go a little further, we can pop out of camera view and let's grab our point light and let's delete it. So now we can add, for example, a spotlight. If we move our spotlight up, you can see that we've got a nice large one right there. We can just position it on top of our car, like so. And then if we turn up the power to around 10,000, you see that we've got a nice spot right there. So the spotlights are tuned to work like this, because a point light, it just becomes like that if you turn up the radius. But a spotlight is made perfectly like this to simulate how you have a bigger light, so it's more bright in the center and then it tapers off at the edges. So you can also change that. So by changing the radius, you can see that I can make the light bigger like that and smaller. So for the car, I would do like 7.47, just so you can see like the reflection handling. Now again, for the color, I would change it to that little beigeish color that we had earlier, like this, or even a yellow. And now if we go back into our camera view, you can see that when our car comes, that's looking really nice. So an area light would be the same concept, but you would have to position it a little more on center for that spotlight effect. But something like this would work really well. And if you ever to hop into Cycles right now on the GPU, you can see that it looks really professional, and I think it works really well. So yeah, that was just a quick tip on cinematic lighting in Blender. And if the video helped you out, please like and subscribe so that I can make more videos like this, and if you want to support my creation journey. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.